don't think so. We'll see. I think we did it, Emily. We're live. Welcome, everyone. I have my beautiful, beautiful friend, Emily Evans Russell, and we're here with you on a small, short little live on an incredible topic that I had to write down to make sure I got it. So, les quiero dar
We
la
don't forget.
bienvenida a mi querida amiga Emily Evans Russell, que una súper linda, preciosa persona con un tema que estamos aquí para compartir con ustedes. Y el tema, que lo tuvimos que escribir para no olvidarnos, es ¿qué es lo que puedes elegir tú que nadie más puede? So, hello, Emily. Thanks for coming on.
Hello, Sylvia and everybody. Thank you for translating. I'm amazed your brain can work. Do both at the same time.
Y saludos a todos y gracias Silvia también por traducir porque es increíble que el cerebro pueda funcionar con estas dos cosas a la misma vez. So yes, we're both amazed that we're still sitting up, especially after this beautiful, incredible 6 days in South Africa. Wow.
Yeah.
Y realmente estamos sorprendidas que todavía estamos rectas aquí paradas, sentadas, después del evento increíble que estuvo en Sudamérica de los 6 días. Así es que, oh, we got people jumping on Facebook. Hello, everyone. Yes, welcome.
Welcome.
Where would you like to start, Emily? Because this is an incredible topic where we could go so many places. Entonces, ¿dónde te gustaría comenzar? Porque podemos ir en cualquier camino, ¿no?
Well, I remember the first time I heard, I think it was Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, asked this question, like, what can you choose that no one else can? And I was like, but that wouldn't be fair if we couldn't all choose the same things.
Dice, sí, recuerdo la primera vez que escuché al señor Gary Douglas, lo escuché decir, oye, ¿qué tal si tú puedes elegir algo que nadie más puede? Y pensé, wow, eso no parece ser justo. And you know what? I had the same thing. I was like, whoa, wait a moment. No one else can, but everybody should be able to choose.
Yeah.
Y a mí también me llegó lo mismo. Oye, ¿cómo es posible? No, todos tenemos elección. ¿Cómo es que alguien no puede? So what did you discover shortly after?
Many things. But like you said, one of the great things about that question is that we are all so unique. We are all so different. So really what you can choose and what you actually desire to choose is going to be different from me, from the next person, from the next person.
Yeah. Y aquí lo increíble también de reconocer es que cada uno de nosotros somos tan únicos y realmente de lo que vas a poder tú elegir o lo que puede elegir otra persona va a ser algo muy distinto y también lo que desean elegir.
And for me, and I can't wait to hear you talk about this, but for me, it was getting really curious about this question and starting to acknowledge that I really can choose things that only I can. And if I look to everybody else and what they're choosing, I'm never going to get to the gift of what I'm capable of.
Y para mí también, estoy muy curiosa de escuchar lo que vas a decir tú, pero también era explorar esta pregunta de ver, wow, ¿qué es las elecciones que tengo yo que no tiene nadie más? Porque si me preocupo por ver los demás, nunca voy a llegar a ese regalo de las elecciones que tengo yo que nadie más tiene. And I would say that has been the exploration to, I guess for me, that moment it was like, well, am I excluding other people if I only begin to look at what I can choose that no one else can? Yeah. And it was that willingness to go, wait, I should be bringing everybody along. Entonces, para mí también fue ese sentido de, oye, pero voy a estar excluyendo a la gente si voy eligiendo cosas que solo yo puedo elegir, o cómo le hago para traer todo el mundo conmigo. Yes.
Yeah.
And in that, it's so interesting. There's this resistance that sometimes comes up of really allowing you to see the unique being that you are. Not that it's better than someone else, it's just different.
Yeah.
Entonces, para mí, esta parte de ver qué es lo brillante de ti, no por hacer a alguien menos, sino para ver qué es eso de ti.
I remember I had a very great teacher when I was getting my master's in teaching. And he said to me, don't ever buy that you need to treat every child fairly. That's bullshit. And he was like, every child is different. You have to actually look to what they require. Fair is about everyone being the same, and they're not.
Wow, entonces dice, yo recuerdo que tuve un maestro que dice, oye, tienes que ver a los niños, los estudiantes, que no todos son iguales y no se trata de ser justos, sino qué es lo que pueden, en un sentido, recibir. Y esto de justo es una mentira porque eso significaría que todos son iguales y no lo son. Wow, that's actually brilliant.
Yeah,
You
right?
know, I come from a family of 5 girls and I know we're all different.
Yeah.
Entonces, yo vengo de una familia de 5 mujeres y sí, claramente somos todas diferentes.
And if
Entonces,
I tried to do the same thing for you and all your sisters, then no one's actually getting to receive, like, no one's actually getting what they require or to receive what's unique and wonderful about them because we're trying to just be everything the same. It doesn't work.
entonces aquí dice, entonces, por ejemplo, si yo trato de hacer algo contigo y tus hermanas igual, no va a salir porque no les está dando oportunidad de realmente ver qué hay allí de cada persona. No funciona. Wow. Wow. So how much are we actually limiting each and every person's it's so funny because right there's the word potential, but that's not the word. But it's like the brilliance, really, by trying to make everything
Fair.
the same for
The same.
everyone.
Yeah.
Entonces aquí realmente esta parte de reconocer cuánto estamos disminuyendo por querer o esperar que todos tengan la misma elección, cuando parece como esa idea de que alcancen un potencial, pero no es el potencial, es como la brillantez de cada persona y no lo estamos logrando por querer tener todo justo.
And how much do we limit ourselves and like our own choices by sort of looking around what other people have as their lives? And then whether it's cognitive or not, but not choosing something different because that wouldn't be fair. You'd be too much. You wouldn't be the same as everybody else anymore.
Y allí esta parte también de esta parte de dejar esas cosas, porque a la misma vez estamos como queriendo buscar ser igual y normal de como todos los demás, pero ¿qué tal que es lo que se requiere? So add more to that, because I only caught a couple bit and then just
I know. I was like, that was long. Well, basically, just like when we look, and I look, Diana put, let's destroy the cookie cutter. But basically, if we choose based on what we see everybody else choosing, we limit ourselves because we're trying to be fair or not have a greater life than other people are choosing.
Entonces aquí, por ejemplo, acaban de poner, oye, hay que destruir y descrear todo lo que se hace cuando hacen esas galletitas, cada una igual, ¿verdad? Tienen la maquinita. O sea, hay que destruir eso, porque cuando estás queriendo ser igual como los demás, eso destruye lo que está brillante de ti. Okay, that last piece you said, elaborate more on that, because you...
About the last piece, about we wouldn't, so I don't know if this is in anyone else's world, but when you choose, because it's like, what can you choose? When you choose more, your life gets greater. And
que
how
cuando
many,
eliges más, tu vida se hace más grandiosa.
and then how many of us don't choose that because it wouldn't be fair to, we think it wouldn't be fair to everybody else because they can't choose it. They're not having it. Why do I get to deserve that?
Entonces, cuando elegimos algo más grandioso, uno dice, ay, pero ¿por qué voy a elegir eso si ellos no lo pueden elegir? Y wow, yes, that. And, it's interesting. One of the things that I grew up in California and both my parents are from Mexico. Entonces, yo crecí en California y mis padres son de México. So I grew up, thinking I was Mexican, growing up in California until I went to Mexico. Entonces yo siempre dije, pues soy mexicana, hasta que llegué a México. And when I got to Mexico, they were like, you're not Mexican. And it was a moment at 12 years old going, I'm not Mexican, then who am I? Like it started to put everything in question of who I had defined myself to be. Entonces cuando llegué a México y me dijeron, no eres mexicana, entonces es como comencé a cuestionar, entonces, ¿quién soy? But then this little light bulb went on like, wait a moment, I have an advantage. I get to choose either this or that or both or however. So, entonces en un momento como que se prendió un foquito y dije, aquí puedo elegir, ya sea más mexicana, más americana, como fuera, puedo elegir las dos. But that was an advantage that to this day I'm using.
Yep.
And not everybody has that. Entonces allí es donde me di cuenta, wow, realmente tengo una ventaja. Y en un momento como de querer detenerme, pero también reconocer, wow, esta hasta la fecha lo estoy usando a mi favor. But
And I
how
love
many,
that because it's like,
yeah,
what are we not taking advantage of? That is just something you just be. It's just unique to you.
ya, entonces allí me encanta eso porque de qué ya tienes que es único a ti que no estás usando a tu ventaja. Yes.
And you created that and you chose that.
Entonces tú creaste esto y lo elegiste. Right.
Yeah.
The
And
other thing we
yeah,
both have maybe that not everybody has is that we're very petite. And I always think we're petite in size. So people are like, oh, she's harmless.
I realized that was a choice too after like realizing we actually do choose our bodies and everything. It's like, oh, that was smart.
La otra cosa que le digo que también tenemos tal vez las dos es que hemos elegido ser pues algo chaparritas pequeñas, ¿no? Pero digo, o donde la gente dice, ah, esta no va a dañar nada, ¿no? No hay peligro. Y dice, sí, es realmente cuando nos damos cuenta que elegimos nuestro cuerpo y tamaño, que sí, fue algo muy, muy listo y usarlo.
Yeah. So if you acknowledged, like everyone watching, that you created everything in your life, then what else could you now choose if you were willing to be so different and take advantage of all those things that are unique to you?
Entonces, si todos escuchando ahorita podrían reconocer que han creado todo, todo lo que hay en su vida y todo lo que es único y que realmente lo podrías usar a tu ventaja. That.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's a big part of going beyond this fairness that we think needs to exist.
Yeah.
Entonces aquí realmente es esa parte de ir más allá de lo que creemos que tiene que ser justo. And I recently shared a story about one of my sisters who is now mayor of our hometown.
Yes.
Ya, entonces estaba compartiendo una historia de mi hermana, una de mis hermanas que es alcalde del pueblo donde crecimos. But one of the things years ago, they out loud, she was very, she would judge me for what I was choosing. And it was such this judgment. And now I realize like, oh, you know, I didn't stop. I didn't try to have her understand me or choose less. I kept going. But seeing her recently and the joy in her life, she's also acting, you know, she's doing theater performances and she went back to school, got her, you know, so adding so much more, she's happy. And I'm all like, wow. And just recently I was invited to acknowledge, like, do you realize you inspired that?
Yeah.
But it's only because I didn't stop. I didn't make myself less.
Yeah.
Entonces, lo que ocurrió aquí con mi hermana es que lo que noté ahora reciente es que ha agregado mucho a su vida. Está contenta, feliz, está actuando, acaba de regresar a estudiar más y también como alcalde. Y lo que me doy cuenta es que hace años me estaba juzgando ella mucho por lo que elegía yo, pero no paré, no me disminuí. Y ahora reciente me invitaron a reconocer, oye, ¿te has dado cuenta que la has inspirado? And so part of that I get is this part of taking advantage of what choices we have available is that there will be some people that you'll inspire to know
Yeah.
that it's possible, but you got to be willing to keep going.
Yeah.
Entonces esa parte, si no se rinden y siguen eligiendo, posiblemente va a haber gente que van a inspirar a saber que, like what did Gary say? Because if Sylvia can, anybody can. Sylvia puede, todos pueden. Emily and Sylvia can, come on.
Come on. Well, I love that example because it's like, here's what you could choose. And so you did, just being all of you and even receiving judgment for it. And then the same person, your sister,
Yeah.
it then inspired. So you never know, but if you don't choose that, what's for you, it's like, what else, you know, what life would you like to be creating? You're here right now to choose what no one else can. You're unique. And that's such a great example.
Ya, y esta parte de este ejemplo de que tú no te dejaste rendir o reducir, pero seguiste eligiendo en la cara también del juicio, que llegas a poder inspirar a una persona a hacer algo diferente. And you said so many more brilliant things.
I don't know.
But that
You got
piece,
it.
really, but that inspiration, it's like, if we're truly going to create a greater world, it's like, Yeah, to actually acknowledge what choices do you have that what can you choose that no one else can? What can you
Yeah.
be? What are you that no one else is? Entonces, ¿qué eres que nadie más es? ¿Qué lecciones tienes? Porque si realmente vamos a crear un mundo más grandioso, se trata de reconocer eso de ti.
And how your choice inspired your sister and many other people,
Yeah.
myself included. But that, if we think everything has to be fair, it's like choosing from lack. Like if the universe only has so much to give, and so you have to wait so everyone gets their fair share, which isn't how it
Wow.
works.
Entonces aquí también es como decir que, pues sí, que tú eligiendo inspiras tanto como tu hermana o como me has inspirado a mí, pero esta parte de decir, wow, es como tener este banquete, si va a ser todo justo, realmente no pueden recibir más.
But instead, it's like the universe is this infinite warehouse, and the more you choose, the more that other people get to choose and receive by you choosing. It's like does not work from lack at all. It's the opposite.
Entonces, no se trata de la escasez de un banquete limitado, sino que es infinito y si tú eliges más, otros pueden elegir más y eso, pues sí, mucho más grandioso. Y no es desde la escasez, que solo hay una cantidad particular para todos. And isn't that amazing? Because, I mean, I've known you for at least what, I don't know, maybe 8 years,
8
10
years?
years?
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, 8 years maybe? Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, looking at what you've chosen and what you're being, and even the energy of you, it's like, it is inspirational and it adds so much to the world. Y aquí también para mí, con Emily, de verla ya conocido más o menos 8 años, de lo que ha elegido y la energía que está dispuesta de ser, sí inspira. So it's like, wow, where are we limiting what inspiration we can be in the planet to something greater by not choosing greater?
Yeah.
Entonces, ¿qué estamos limitando de la grandeza que puede haber en el planeta por no elegir más?
It's a great example of, we have the crazy phrase in Access, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Aquí es
It's
un buen
like,
ejemplo de la frase loca de Access que dice, todo es lo opuesto de lo que aparenta ser y nada es lo opuesto de lo que aparenta ser.
it's like we're told it's selfish to choose more, but actually the more you choose that's unique for you, the more everybody gets to receive and choose.
Entonces aquí dicen unos, es cosa muy orgullosa si solo eliges para ti, pero cuando eliges para ti, simplemente hay más para que invitar a otros que elijan por ellos también.
So I want to say, speaking of knowing each other for 8 years, might even be more, 8, 9 years, basically.
Yeah.
We've got to facilitate a couple times together, and you're in Mexico City now, but I'm coming to Mexico next week, and we get to facilitate together.
Entonces, hablando de cuánto tiempo nos hemos conocido, yo creo ya 9 años, y hemos facilitado un poco, pero ahora nos va a tocar hacerlo aquí en México. Yo ya me encuentro en México, Emily viene y vamos a ir a Monterrey.
Yay!
Monterrey. You know, I've never been to Monterrey. It'll be my first time.
Me too.
I do hope you get to enjoy it because they say it's beautiful. Like, I'll be in and out, but
The hiking, yeah, you're in and out. Then Sylvia has to go to Argentina for more adventures.
Entonces aquí le digo que espero que se vaya a quedar ella va a estar más días en Monterrey para disfrutarlo porque dicen que es precioso. Y yo de entrada y salida, pero sí, me voy a Argentina. I am. And thank you, Emily, because this topic, like many others in the class that we're going to have, creating more money, more time,
more joy.
And more joy. I mean, that I have an example from today, pero esto de decirle que estoy tan contenta también de esta clase que vamos a tener, de creando más tiempo, más dinero y más gozo. So I'm in Mexico City, an area that I know, right? But I went from my place to my hairstylist today, and it literally was like, oh, like I knew where to go, and I got there, and I'm all, that was easy, that was short, like that was effortless. Like, I've done the same walk, I've gotten lost, I've done, but now there was just such this ease and flow. And I'm like, wow, what if that could be available in all areas of my life, even more than it's been? Entonces hoy acabo de caminar, me fui a hacer el pelo hoy en la mañana y la caminada fue así de rápido, de fácil. Y me he perdido aquí en la ciudad antes y todo, pero digo, fluyó tan ligero y con esa facilidad, digo, wow, ¿qué tal que podría haber esa facilidad con todas las áreas de mi vida, aún más de lo que es. But that's that part about willing to ask for more.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the beginning of the live, we were just at the 6-day event in South Africa. And I've been having a similar thing coming home. Like today, I was like, oh, I could create this and this and this. But there was this like ease and relaxation with everything. It's like, ooh, I'll have more of that. I wonder what's opening up.
Entonces, esto también súper lindo. Estamos hablando también de esto que acabamos de las dos llegar de Sudáfrica, que el evento de 6 días, pero ella también explorando ahorita de todas esas creaciones, esta creación, y con esa facilidad dice, oye, sí es diferente, más de esto, por favor. And you know, one of the things I'm reminding myself, I guess 2023, perhaps it's like, I get to ask.
Yeah.
That's just like, I'm still amazed. It's like, I got to remind myself, like, I get to ask.
Like, yeah.
That's like, oh my gosh, it's like my Christmas list every day. Entonces, me estoy recordando mucho ahorita, iniciando el año de 2023, es que a mí me toca pedir. Es como de poder llenar esa lista que a Santo Claus o lo que sea, pero cada día. So yeah, that's my play and my joy. It's like, wow, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah. And so let's Adriana has a question in the chat, which is really great to end with too, because she's asking, how are you able to recognize what is unique to you when you don't have a clear vision? Should I ask my friends what do they think about me that they think is good, etc.?
Entonces aquí llega una pregunta y tal vez es una manera de también ya darle el final aquí, es de cómo es que puedes llegar a reconocer lo que es único de ti, cómo tener esa visión clara. Le pregunto a mis amigos qué ven en mí, ¿sería eso algo bueno?
So one of the questions I've had on a sticky note on my mirror for the last like four months maybe is, what is true for me I have not yet discovered?
Entonces, algo que tengo en una etiqueta de Post-it note, y lo tengo, ¿qué es verdad para mí que aún no he descubierto?
And what if you just asked that and allowed the universe to show you what is unique to you that you actually desire?
Y allí también es cómo comenzar a seguir haciendo esa pregunta y dejar que el universo te muestre que eso es único de ti. And go ahead.
Well, you know, we've been using Access tools for like basic, like I have almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And I started asking that and realizing, wow, I'm actually just discovering what is actually true for me.
Y yo ya llevo pues ya casi los 10 años y apenas estoy descubriendo lo que es verdad para mí. I'd say the same, Emily, and that it's like uncovering the lies, the adopted points of views and beliefs. It's like there is so much more still available. Entonces, esa parte de sí, para mí igual, de comenzar a seguir en la pregunta, ¿qué es lo único de mí, mi universo? Muéstrame. Porque apenitas estamos comenzando, como es de deshacer esas mentiras, todas esas creencias que no son verdad para nosotros.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
what if you could have fun along the way? Like, it's not that, oh no, that's taken me 10 years. It's like, there's just always more. And it's like, oh my goodness.
Entonces, ¿qué tal si también se pueden divertir en el camino a esto, no? Es eso, definitivamente. I would say that for me, it's also, where am I grateful for me? What am I grateful for about me? And there may be those small little moments that I realize, oh, it's my difference that actually contributed to that. There was this young man one time, I walked out of the grocery store and he was right in front of me. So I noticed him. And then when I finished paying, I walked out and you can tell he had been in the streets for some time, dirty, but he must have been like mid-20s or so. So not very old. But I remember walking out and I was dressed up, ready to go somewhere. And he approached me and he looked at me and he's all, "You are so beautiful."
Wow.
And in that moment, I looked at him and I said, "Thank you." Like, I totally received it. Every time I go to tell the story, there's like these tears. But I remember walking away and I was crying. I was going, oh my gosh, like how different was that? Like I could perceive his world because there was no judgment about him, no fear of him, total receiving of it. And I thought that changed his world.
Yep.
But it's those moments where I have to notice, like,
Yeah.
that's different. And I
Yeah.
was grateful. May never see how that looked like, but I'm grateful that I was willing to contribute, receiving from him with no judgment.
Wow.
Esta parte de que también me recuerdo esta parte como observarte y ver qué es lo bello de ti, qué es lo único de ti. Hubo un momento, un jovencito, digo jovencito, 25 años más o menos, que lo vi saliendo del mercado y sucio, 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 que parecía que vivía en la calle. Al salir, ya lo había visto adentro, y al salir que se arrima y con esta cara me dice, eres tan bella. Y en ese momento, pues, lo recibí, lo vi a los ojos y simplemente le dije: "Gracias". Y me fui caminando a mi carro y me salieron las lágrimas, porque en ese momento me di cuenta, guau, lo recibí sin juicio y sé que eso le cambió el mundo. Entonces, ¿qué tal si ustedes también se pueden observar y ver dónde está haciendo ese espacio que le cambia el mundo a alguien? Con simplemente ser tú. So it's like, where could, we all begin to observe ourselves, even in the smallest thing where you're actually changing someone's world by who you're being.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
And that, more of that. So, like, and what beyond this reality acknowledgement can you be for you?
That. ¿Qué reconocimiento más allá de esta realidad puedes ser tú para ti?
Because no one else is going to notice that or see that. But for you, like actually acknowledging that for a moment, what that changed in his world, it's like, what could we all be for ourselves and each other with that? That changes what's possible here.
Ya. Entonces, así como tú pudiste ser esto para él, ¿cómo podríamos nosotros ser eso para nosotros, de observar qué es eso?
Yeah.
Wow. So maybe that's the home play for everyone. Maybe we'll see you on the classes in Monterey, live or online. We have a meet and greet together. We have this create class together. And then Emily, what else are you doing out in Monterey? You got more classes.
And then I'm doing a bars class for the public and introducing the symphony class, which is a brand new like taste of the symphony energies with access. But I planned the trip originally because I'm getting to facilitate and teach bars for an organization where women that have breast cancer and then kids that have cancer and their families. So that's been one of my asks, to like get bars in more people's hands like that. So I'm so excited.
Yeah. Entonces le pregunto también, pues vamos a facilitar tanto un encuentro, pero también esta clase presencial y en línea, pero ella se queda a hacer más clases. Entonces va a dar una clase de barras, también va a dar esta clase que es una nueva, introductoria a la energía de sinfonía. Dice, pero lo que le está llamando más fue parte de la razón que va a Monterrey, es que hay una organización de mujeres que tienen cáncer que les va a enseñar las barras, y también otro para jóvenes que tienen a familiares con cáncer. Entonces, eso ha sido pues una motivación de sacar más al mundo lo que son las barras de Access Consciousness. So, awesome. And someone just put up the link to our landing page where they can find all the details for the classes. So, aquí tienen un enlace donde pueden ir a ver los detalles para que se registran en. We'd love for all of you to come.
Yes, see your faces in person or online.
Yes.
Nice to hug people.
So thank you so much, Emily. I'm grateful that you're choosing more and more of you every day. So
Me too, for you. You are such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, entonces aquí las dos agradecidas, que cada una está eligiendo más y más ser ese regalo que somos. Así es que los invitamos que se reconozcan más y más ustedes por el regalo que son, que eso va a invitar a más gente a elegirlo también. Awesome. See you soon. Ciao, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Let's see.